Hey y'all, welcome. This is Beck with Southern Spangled. Today I have a fun craft for you. We are going to make the cutest little fake pumpkin pies. So let's get started. I'll show you what you need to create these pumpkin pies, and then at the end I'll show you how I styled mine. Alright, so this is what you're going to need to create one of these adorable pumpkin pies. You're going to need some white paint. It can be acrylic paint, or here I use chalk paint. Either is fine. You're going to need some pumpkin colored paint. I use the Waverly pumpkin chalk paint. You're going to need these little disposable mini pie tins. You can get these at the store or you can order them online. If you order them online, you may have to buy in bulk, but those are pretty readily available. You're going to need a little piece of foam. You're going to need a paintbrush. You're going to need something to mix in as well as a stir stick. You're going to need lightweight spackle, and that is important. You do need lightweight spackle. You're going to need some cardboard. You're going to need a piping bag or a Ziploc bag, something like that, to put in your whipped cream when we go to pipe it on. You're going to need a hot glue gun, and then of course you're going to want something down on your table to protect your surface. So the first thing we want to do is to cut a topper for our pie tin. We don't want to have to fill it up, so that's where your cardboard's going to come in. You're just going to turn that over and trace around it and then cut that circle out. It'll probably be a little bit too big, so just trim it down. I'm going to turn this the other way for right now so you can tell. You're just going to trim it down until it fits right in there like that. Okay, super easy. And then hopefully you can get it back out. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to paint this your pie color. And since we're making pumpkin pies, we're going to paint it a pumpkin color. And it will probably take a couple coats, just depending on how thick your paint is. And actually, I'm going to do it off to the side just a little so I can go off the edges here and not have to worry about it too much. It'll just take a second. And like I said, I'm going to plan on doing 2 coats. So I'm going to let that sit. I'm not even going to worry about my paintbrush drying out yet because that's going to go so quickly. In the meantime, we're going to mix up our whipped cream, okay? So you're going to take your lightweight spackle, and I already have some mixed up, so I'm not going to mix any for you today, but I am going to show it to you what it looks like. It's what you use to fill like holes in your drywall, okay? So it's already a good consistency, but I want to add white paint to it to make that a little bit brighter white because it's not very bright white. Plus, we want to thin it down just a little bit. You want it to be the consistency of frosting. This would work by itself, so you wouldn't have to. Also, if you want a different color, Cool Whip, then you could do that too. You wouldn't have to add white, you could add a different color. Now, once you get your frosting mixed up, you're going to want to put it in a piping bag or in a Ziploc bag, something that you can squeeze it through. I just put mine in one of these disposable piping bags, rolled up the end, pushed it down as much as I could, and then you're going to want to clip the end with a pair of scissors. If you have piping tips and you want it to be a certain shape or whatever, you can do that too. But of course, once you use a piping tip for something like this, you wouldn't want to go back and use it for food products. But I just simply cut mine with a pair of scissors, and I'm not using the piping tip. And we can just set that aside. If you were going to store this, tape over the end of that, make sure this is clamped shut really well so that no air gets in there, and it will last for a while if you're going to use it over a couple of days. I mixed this up a few days ago when I made these, and then I just stored it airtight so that I could show you guys how to make these. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add our second layer of the paint because that has already dried, and I just want that to have a little bit better coverage. Easy peasy. And you see that's kind of curling up because the paint will do that. Don't worry about it. We are going to glue it down anyway. All right, so take your pie tin and you want that little piece of foam, and we're gonna glue that in the bottom of there just to give that cardboard that we're gonna glue in there a little bit of support. That's all it's for. You could even get away with it, but if your cardboard is thin, then and you put on a lot of the fake whip, then it might make your cardboard bend in the middle. So that's why we want that little extra support. Okay, so as soon as this finishes drying, then we will do the next step. Okay, and now finally we can start assembling the pie. My top is dry. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue right on that foam piece. And then I'm also going to go around the edge, and this is what's gonna help that cardboard to not, I need to be doing this with my right hand, to not curl up on me, okay? So then you're just gonna fit that right in there, just like that. And you guys, if you can do this with a mini pie, then absolutely, you could do this with a big disposable pie tin as well. And how cute would that be? Okay, so we've got that all the way in, and now we can start with the whipped cream. So I'm gonna go around the edges first, and I kind of do a dollop and then move around. Probably most of you have put frosting on a cake before, and that's pretty much what we're gonna do. And if you have a little hole, like right here, you can see a little bit of the pie coming through, which really isn't that big a deal, but just go in and add a little bit more. Until you get all the way around, and then you want to add a big dollop in the middle. And there you go. Now you're gonna want to set this aside for several days. Do your best not to touch it. You're going to be tempted to want to come and see if it's dry, but you're going to want to set that aside for several days or overnight. Let it set it aside for overnight, and then it will be dry, and then you can style them. But how cute would those be on a tablescape? So many uses, a little tiered tray. I'm going to show you what I do with mine.